Having been shopping recently, I was mildly concerned to see a vehicle with the engine left running and two very young children inside. Having waited around for at least 10 minutes or so, no one returned to the vehicle before I went to look for security. So this raises the question that many people might have as to whether or not it's legal to leave the car running with the engine on, or to leave children in the car unattended. Both of those I'm going to address in this video. So welcome back, I'm the Black Belt Barrister, helping you to understand law, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. So these two questions come up fairly frequently, and one is more straightforward than the other. As to whether or not you leave the vehicle with the engine running, this is covered in the Highway Code under Rule 123, which states that you must not leave a parked vehicle unattended with the engine running, or leave the vehicle engine running unnecessarily while that vehicle is stationary on a public road. So let's pause there. That's the important part for this scenario that I described, because I was on a supermarket car park, which is not a public road. So this would not be covered by the Highway Code. So this sort of escapes the driver from liability in that scenario, because obviously it's not a public road. There are exceptions in Rule 123, which is if you leave the engine running whilst you're stationary in traffic, or you're trying to diagnose faults. In other words, you've broken down and you've got somebody trying to diagnose what the fault is. But otherwise, leaving the engine running on a public road, even for a couple of minutes, is prohibited in the Highway Code because it is a must not. And must not rules are usually, as in this case, backed up by legislation and regulations. In this case, the Construction and Use Regulations 98 and 107, which are given force by the Road Traffic Act 1988, Section 42, which makes it an offence to break this rule. So how about the other part of this scenario where the two very young children were left in the vehicle unattended, in this case at least for around 10 minutes? Well, the position here is relatively straightforward, although requires some qualification. The default position is it is illegal to leave a child alone if it's going to place that child at risk. And most people would agree that leaving two very young children in a vehicle alone, unattended with the vehicle running, places those children at risk of abduction, if not anything else. But I know of one real case where a child had crawled into the front seat and started moving the vehicle, causing a collision with another vehicle. This child at the time was around 5 years old. But the general position about leaving children alone, whether that's at home or in a vehicle, is down to the parent's judgment as to how mature the child is as to whether it's safe to leave them alone at all. But the NSPCC advises that children under the age of 12 are rarely mature enough to be left alone for any period of time. And that's particularly prevalent if they are in a vehicle with the engine running in a car park and the driver or the owner or the parent or the guardian is nowhere to be seen. I was standing next to this vehicle for at least 10 minutes, so anyone with any kind of malicious intent could very easily have got into this car and driven off, and these two children may never have been seen again. So quite frankly, in my view, whilst leaving the engine running in the car park is not strictly illegal, it's not exactly best practice because it was filling the car park full of fumes unnecessarily. But for me, the most concerning thing was the two children left in the rear seat, both of whom were very young, still in child seats, and in my view, that was neglectful and dangerous. So please heed this as a warning, especially if you do this regularly, because if you do this regularly and you take your trolley away having started your engine and you leave the children in the back, it only takes one person with malicious intent to spot that this is your pattern and wait for you to come back and do that next time, and then next time they might just get into your car and drive away, and you may never see those children again. So please share this video with someone that you think does something like this. Remember to subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.